All right. How about this one? Yeah, we got a official sponsor these days. You can join the show on this one, Joe. Get in here on the conversation, bro. You're sitting in. You're going to be hanging with us. That's right. This is a big day for us here on the Gambler as we are punching up our Eagles insider, the one, the only, Mr. Adrian Fedke. Adrian, how you doing?
How am I doing? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not feeling the greatest. I didn't even drink on Sunday, and I still feel hungover from the beating that we just got in Big D, 37-10. But we're going to talk about some things today. We're going to talk about how maybe the Eagles can kind of turn this thing around. Can't wait to get this going.
Well, here's what I want to do, though. This is a big deal for us here on the Gambler. You're officially sponsored. You are officially sponsored. That's right, by Hers Potato Chips. That's right.
You have no idea how excited I am about this, because not only do I love potato chips, I love Hers potato chips. So not only can you make Hers yours, they are officially mine, and I can't wait to dig into the barbecue chips, the the salt and vinegar.
Salt and
Those
vinegar.
are my two favorites.
Yeah, salt and vinegar has been a go-to for mine for a long time.
Yeah, they're real good.
And again, they're not just potato chips. They got the sourdough pretzels. They got the cheese curls, all that. So how about this? I got a bunch of taglines here. We're fancy these days. How about this? Adrian Fedke, our Eagles insider on the Fox Sports Radio The Gambler, is brought to you by the fine folks over at Hers Potato Chips. When it's time for game day, it's time for Hers. Keep it Philly with Hers. Forever good. Oh, we got some taglines now and everything. Let's go, Fedke. We're doing it, baby. It's the little things that excite me these days.
I love that.
There
That
you
was so creative and spot on and just inspiring.
Well, it's a read. I read it. They write it. I read it. That's.
Well, whatever they wrote, it was beautiful. Beautiful work.
All right, nice work. All right, let's change gears to something that's drastically worse. That's for sure. It's the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's upsetting. It's upsetting because they got destroyed on national TV against the Cowboys of all people, and effort is being questioned. So I want to start there with you, FedQ. Give me a FedQ focus on the effort. Is it there for you, or are people correct when they say, you know what, I'm not seeing enough of it from guys like Nelson Aguilar, the linebacking core, all that? What's your thoughts on the whole effort debacle?
Yeah, in terms of the effort and the performance, I'm not seeing the lack of effort per se. I'm just seeing some bad football being played, and it goes back to the same conversation of the slow starts. The Eagles have not been in control of one football game yet this year besides the Jets game, and that doesn't even count. So they haven't had one game where they can be in control of the game, control the clock, play the way that they want to play, grind it out. They have to play from behind. They have to play from catch-up. And a lot of these weeks, you take all that time to prepare during the week. You build the game plans to implement all the plays that you want to put into Sunday's game plan. And then by the time the game rolls around 7 minutes in, you have to throw everything away because you're down 14-0 or 24-7 or whatever lead it is this particular week. It's been absolutely abysmal with that. But here's the thing that I'm looking for, and here's how you can potentially turn things around, all right? So I think all it takes is one win, and not just one win where you play from behind and win that way. You need to beat a quality opponent where not only do you get off to a hot start, you capitalize on the preparation, you close out the game in the fourth quarter with the O-line and the running game, and you have one game like that to potentially build confidence, show you that you can win that way again, and then maybe that's what can build the confidence, and that can get you and that season turned around.
All right. Eagles insider Adrian Fedke joining us here on a Daily Ticket, providing a little inspirational quotes here, and I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. This team is not a good football team. And when I got guys like Nick Gary in there trying to make plays for me at linebacker, just the secondary is having issues right now. Offensive line can't keep Carson clean. Receivers can't catch the football. Guys like Deshaun Jackson, we should have never counted on. Never. Ever should we have counted Deshaun Jackson. He's been injury prone, and you had a feeling that was going to happen. And here we are. He played the first week? Week? And who knows when he's coming back. Too many guys that are a little older up there in age. I think we counted on a little bit too much, and here it's biting us in the backside as we speak. But to your point, I think the Buffalo Bills are a good team, and I think that's a winnable football game.
It is a winnable football game. And I want to get to the defensive side of the football because I think this is where we're seeing the problem. So the slow starts again. For the fifth time in 7 games, the defense allowed a touchdown to the opponent on the opening drive. And you know what else I am seeing? I am seeing conversions being made on 3rd and long. So I went and jotted down some notes. I took a little log here of the Cowboys game from Sunday, and they had 8 instances where they had 3rd and 6 plus. They converted 5 of these. So what used to happen back in 2017, the defensive line used to feast on these downs and distances because, 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 6 plus, the defensive line would get to the quarterback so quick that he would either have to take a sack or throw the ball away. Well, I'm seeing guys have a clean pocket all season long. That gives enough time for the wide receivers to get past the sticks, and conversions are being made. So while the Eagles' run defense is great and they're playing ahead of the chains, too many opponents are converting 3rd and long, and they're staying on the field. We're seeing penalties on 3rd and long as well, which are just completely demoralizing. So 3rd downs are a problem, and red zone defense as well. So they were first last year in 2018, and then right now they are 17th in red zone defense. So pressure from the defensive line I don't think is there consistently, and because of that, you're not able to mask the issues you have in the secondary.
All right, Adrian, from off the field to in the locker room and this whole madness that's happening right now with this team, and Lane Johnson is not helping out anybody by basically saying that players are late for meetings, and I forget what else he said, late for meetings and late for practice. And he did that after the game on the post-game show on NBC Sports. And I know that Malcolm Jenkins has had a chance to speak on it. I had Rodney McLeod yesterday, and both were very disappointed with the fact that, guys are speaking up, saying those things. Malcolm went into a little bit more detail, saying to his knowledge that's not the case. Nobody is late to practice or meetings. I did not go into that much of a detail with Rodney McLeod. He just said that it was extremely disappointing because it's a brotherhood, and you're supposed to have each other's back. You could tell that his words were directed at Lane Johnson. What's the latest right now? I know Lane said it's a call-out week. Is that still taking place? Do you think this team is going to see eye to eye with each other, or do you think it's going to come to blows eventually here?
Well, I think the reason why there's disappointment is, the late to meetings and all that. That's something that's supposed to be kept behind closed doors, and don't put it out to the public, don't put it out for everyone to see. So I think that's where that derives from. I would guess that obviously people are showing up late to meetings. I don't think Lane Johnson would say that if they're not. So the thing is, call-out week, something like this where people are held accountable and people have to, face the light, so to speak. This could be something where the team actually comes together. So, it could go one of 2 ways. You could go completely downhill and just start losing a bunch of games in a row like the Falcons have, or you bounce back from this. You have this call-out week. You get everyone back on the same page, and then you go out and start winning some football games.
Yeah, easier said than done, though.
Oh, yeah, way easier said than done.
What is going on with this team right now, Adrian? What is going on? Wide open. It's not good. 38-10 or 30. What was it? 37-10. It's just like that's unacceptable. That should not happen. Not to the Cowboys. Not on Sunday Night Football. It should not happen. And yet, I'm a little worried right now. I think we're counting on some players that are just not good enough at the end of the day. And I think we're counting on some players that we should have seen the light and known that, you know what, they're probably not going to be there for 16, 14 games. And a guy like Deshaun Jackson, I've heard his name every single season. Oh, we need Deshaun Jackson. We need Deshaun Jackson. Well, here, you bring Deshaun Jackson back, and he's not playing.
Yeah, got to get him back on the field. That's where obviously you can utilize his deep threat ability to stretch the defense and then open things up for everybody else. So open-ended question. I mean, I say the same thing every week. I mean, you know what the definition of insanity is, right? Well, they do the same thing every week with the slow starts. And, I really think this is the problem here because you're obviously a lot more predictable when you're trailing and you have to throw while the defense knows you have to throw. So, they tried to stick with the run last week because that's what Dallas's weakness is. But at the end of the day, Jordan Howard only had 11 carries, and 5 of them came on the one possession where they drove for a touchdown. So after that, they really didn't get back to the running game. So, you're making it more predictable. The offensive line is basically in pass sets most of the time, and that lets the defensive line feast. So, you're not you're not in control of these football games where you can do whatever you want. You have to do what the opponent knows what's coming, basically. So I think that's the issue. It's the slow starts. You have to figure out how to turn this around.
Hey, Adrian, it's Joe. What's going on, man?
Going on? Oh, man, it's not good. It's not good, Joe.
It is not. It is not.
What a year to be the Eagles insider, huh?
Yeah.
Are they going to do something? Be honest with me. What's the gut? What do you think is the realistic thing? Are they going to make a trade? I just saw 3 trades happen today, and none of them involving the Eagles. Give me some good news.
You know what? I don't know if they're going to make a big splash, and I'm going to say this right now. A couple years ago, Howie Roseman was ahead of the curve when it came to the trade deadline. If you remember, nobody used to make trades in the NFL. But now it's become like the NBA trade deadline, the MLB trade deadline, where teams are actually making trades. And what we're seeing is more draft compensation being given up than it used to be. So I think like a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu is absolutely ridiculous. And then a third and a fourth for Emmanuel Sanders is a cheap, or not cheap, but expensive as well. So, you got to be careful with these things because the Eagles have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL. They have a lot of money tied up to Carson Wentz and Fletcher Cox, and you want to keep some of these picks to obviously, keep the roster going fresh and young. Now, the problem is, the rebuttal is going to be, well, you can't hit the draft picks. Well, they're going to have to start drafting a little bit better.
So what is the reasonable price if they make a deal? What in your mind, or what even in Howie's mind, give us a look there, is the reasonable, say if Chris Harris or someone else is available, what's the reasonable price? I think everyone should be happy with Howie giving up.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like if they have an opportunity where the price isn't too steep, like because a big name like maybe Patrick Peterson could be involved, but I would guess you'd have to give up a first for him. But for Chris Harris, if you can part with a third or something, maybe that's something that you can do. I'm not looking at something here where you're making a big splash and you're giving up first and seconds. I don't know if that's such a smart idea, but if you can get Chris Harris for like a third or a fourth, I would definitely do that. Now, the problem is we've seen what these prices are, and they might cost a little bit more. So this is where the trend is. More teams are getting into the trade market, and it's increasing the prices of the players.
You ever see ghosts before? Did you ever see a ghost before, Adrian Ficke?
I'm actually eating some ghosts. I got some Reese's ghosts right now.
How about that?
They're white chocolate, so I have seen some ghosts before, and they're absolutely delicious.
Who would your top 3 ghosts be? Me and Sean went over it earlier. What would you have? Put you on the spot.
Oh man, yeah, you're really putting me on the spot because I can't even think of a
name
ghost
a famous ghost.
Ghostbusters.
Well, Slimer.
Yeah.
Slimer's like the easy one. He's probably got to be one on the board.
Casper. There you
go.
go.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's no creativity coming out of your brain right now.
I got no creativity. I got no ghosts. What other ghosts are there? Give me one.
And put down the Reese's and pick up a bag of Her's potato chips, okay? Next time.
Ooh.
Sour cream and onion?
No, I got 2 bags of hers along with the Reese's.
Ah, good score right there. Adrian, always a pleasure, my friend. Beating your bookie on Thursday. Looking forward.
Yeah.
As you boys will be live in studio. How are things going? What was your record last week? How'd you do?
Yeah, so I went 8-6 overall in terms of the whole spread, but in terms of the website, I only lost twice. I got to see how many times I won, but I know I only lost twice. So I did really good on the site. So whenever I get to pick the games I want to pick to play, I do really well. I pick winners.
All right.
That's what we do on Beating Your Bookie.
And you like the Eagles to go up to Buffalo and get a victory this weekend or no?
I think they do it. I think offensively, Buffalo doesn't present the challenges that teams have so far. Other teams have. Josh Allen, I think maybe you can kind of rattle him a little bit. So, defense has to step up. I think that's the key to win in Buffalo. Buffalo's defense obviously very stout, but I think they do come away with the victory.
All right, Adrian, we will talk to you later this week, man. As always, appreciate you hopping on, brother.